I'm sorry if I didn't tell you, it will be Under Sheriff Pat Ivy speaking.
Okay.
Under Sheriff Patrick Ivy.
Does he go by Pat or Patrick?
I-V-E-Y, P-A-T.
You know what this is? Internal testing.
Oh my God, is that what happened?
What's that? Let's hope so. That'd be fun. That guy's a manipulating machine, man. It really is. Didn't this lady we interviewed yesterday thought that he was innocent? I'm like, that.
So a judge just vacated Tom Brady's suspension.
The one game, it was like down to one. No, it was down to one game yesterday.
Oh, was it down to one game? Well, now it looks like it's down to no games.
Yeah, when I mentioned that earlier, someone said another judge will overturn the overturn.
And right before the fantasy draft.
Right.
Grab rated. Fantastic. I'd grab
It'd be foolish not.
That's to really help us fantasy.
Am I ready?
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Are y'all ready? Everybody?
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Good morning. I'm Under Sheriff Pat Ivy. I'll little ground rules holding this conference. I'm going to talk about the arrest of a police officer that we made an arrest last night. I'm going to speak specifically about this case and only this case at this time, okay? All right, everybody good with that? All right, last night, at about 5 p.m., between 5 and 6 p.m., Betty Maynor Pearson, who was a police officer with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, was arrested on the charges of aiding escape, which is a felony. She is a 15-year veteran with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. She was hired in 2000. Was a corrections officer for about 7 years, and then a police officer for 8. The charges stem from assistance that she gave to her son, a family member who had a warrant at the time for trafficking in cocaine. He was at the time fleeing police, and she aided his escape, because you got to remember, escape is that you don't have to be in custody. It can be you are attempting to elude the capture or arrest is in that statute. She gave him assistance to elude police and not be captured on the warrant. So it didn't work out that way. He was apprehended, but that is where the charges stem from. And she was taken into custody last night, and she was booked into the jail. So I will take questions.
Under Sheriff, what can you tell us about how she was helping him?
Specifically, there were conversations while he was actually being through various investigative techniques. There was conversation between her and her son to how to flee. Specifically, things such as, hey, be careful, don't drive that car. They know that car. Hey, I'm hiding. You got to come get me. And response was, okay. So knowing specifically that he had told her, hey, listen, the police just were at a location where I was, and I ran. So she knew all of that at the time.
Dan Scanlon, Times Union, did she actively pick him up, physically meet him to help him, or was this all conversation?
She attempted to, while she was talking to him, she communicated with a third party who was his girlfriend and attempted to coordinate the picking up of him. And it didn't, like I said, it didn't work out for him, and he went to jail.
What's his name?
His name is, he was arrested in narcotics warrant. He is Anton Pearson Jr. Antoine Pearson, same as her last name, which you will be provided a copy of the rest of the report, and I believe her concise history for here at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Jr.
How were you able to determine what she was doing? How long had you guys been watching this interaction?
This, like I said, that kind of goes into another investigation, which later this afternoon there will be a lot of information will come out. I'd like not to comment on that part of it about how long we have been doing that piece. So it is connected to something else. That's why I made the statement at the very beginning.
Under Sheriff, is this rare occurrence in JSO, or unfortunately not rare to have an active duty personnel assisting a family member?
That we know of,
Yeah.
It's rare. We deal with it, obviously, as we dealt with it here. I hope and pray that it's not occurring and that we don't know about it. But information that we have, and when we look into a case like this, obviously we take the appropriate action. I think it is rare.
Woody, first question, how long have you been trying to find him and catch him? Her son, how long have you been looking for him? How long the warrant been out?
Very, very short time.
Very short.
Very short time.
Undersheriff, when an officer is being recruited, how deep into that person's family history does JSO look into? Does this person, Antoine Jr., have an extensive rap sheet that you guys already knew of when she became an officer?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I tell you this: the hiring standards for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, it's a pretty high standard. You go through a battery of we do a polygraph, we do a medical screening, we do a psychological screening, we take written tests, we do physical tests. We have a lot of steps to try to weed out anybody that we think would have character flaws or things in their past. They do a pretty extensive background check to include neighbors, prior employers, all of that nature. So we do a very good job at that. As the other question, I think this is a few and far between scenario, but then again, we dealt with it when it does appear.
But how much weight do family members have in that process?
What do you mean?
In terms of if you guys know of that this person is related to...
If there was anything in someone's history, anything includes anything that we feel would jeopardize their ability to perform this duty as it should be done with integrity, I don't think they'd be employed here.
Now, sir, what happens to her now as a sworn officer sitting in the jail, or maybe not anymore?
So originally this is what happens. She was arrested last night, but prior to that last week, we go through a process to where we bring her in and we revoke her police powers. That occurred last Thursday, and she is put in an assignment to where she has no contact with the public, at least in person, and her police powers, like I say, are rescinded or revoked, and she stays, her gun's taken, yes, if that's what you're patting on your side, if that's what that means. And she's in that assignment until we get to a point in the investigation where we feel like we need to make an arrest. Now, granted, that scenario happens sometimes when it doesn't involve an arrest, but in this particular case it did. Then we got to the point to where it was yesterday evening, and we made the physical arrest. She's booked into the jail just like everybody else is. And then at that particular point, she gets her appearance before a judge, and she is able to make bond. I can't comment on whether she's made bond yet or not, or she's still in. She very well may be. And then she gets her normal process. Now, we go through our criminal process working with the state attorney's office as the prosecuting entity here in this jurisdiction. When we complete that process, as far as whatever happens to her in reference to criminal charges, then we go into any administrative issues that we have in reference to any violations of policy and whether she stays employed here as whatever this particular case, I wouldn't think she would.
Follow up. So literally, was she in the jail at the same time as her son?
Yes, she would have been. I believe, or have they? I have to get clarification. Have they bonded out? Still in the jail at the same time. Yes.
Any other questions? Does she have any history of misconduct, or is this the first time that...
You being provided her concise history.
Okay.
Was she at all involved in the trafficking of the cocaine, or just helping him stay out of the
Again, that's part of that investigation, which we will release more this afternoon. I wouldn't want to get into that.
Can you talk at all about her reaction when you all presented this information to her last Thursday?
Exceptionally calm.
Any other questions?
Did she admit to anything?
Again, this is the beginning of the criminal proceeding process. She has rights there, just like everybody else does. Then we're going into the administrative process. We don't want to violate any of her rights there, so I wouldn't want to comment on that this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.